Imagine rising from the cracked sidewalks of South Central LA, spitting fire that ignites a revolution in music, shattering Hollywood's glass ceilings, and building empires where others saw only ruins. Now picture that same warrior at 56, staring down a spotlight that's dimming, not because his flame flickered, but because the world keeps testing the man who taught us to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. This isn't just Ice Cube's story. It's a raw reminder that true legends don't just survive tragedy. They forge legacies from its ashes. Buckle up, because the tragedy of O'Shea Jackson isn't heartbreak. It's the heartbeat of resilience that still pulses through American culture today. Ice Cube didn't just emerge from the shadows of one of America's most notorious neighborhoods. He clawed his way out, carrying the weight of a childhood scarred by loss that no platinum record or blockbuster could ever fully mend. Born O'Shea Jackson on June 15, 1969 in Westmont, a gritty pocket of South Central Los Angeles, his early life was a masterclass in quiet survival. His father, Hosea Jackson, a dedicated groundskeeper at UCLA, came home each evening with calloused hands and a father's unyielding pride, while his mother, Doris, a hospital clerk and custodian, wove a shield of tough love around her kids amid the chaos of sirens and shattered dreams. Money was tight, but discipline was ironclad. Family dinners were sacred rituals under the hum of an old clock where words were few, but the unspoken lessons of endurance ran deep. Ice Cube shared this world with his older brother Clyde and a half, sister Beverly Jean Brown, whose creative spirit tied to the family's artistic veins sparked early flickers of the storyteller he would become. But what if one bullet could rewrite your entire destiny? At just 12 years old, tragedy ripped through their home like a thief in the night, stealing innocence and leaving a void that echoes in every verse Cube ever penned. Beverly, only 22 and full of unfulfilled promise, was gunned down in a brutal domestic murder. Suicide by her husband Carl Clifford Brown in their South Central home, a stone's throw from the Jacksons' doorstep. It wasn't a random street skirmish. It was intimate horror, the kind that turns family gatherings into ghosts. Cube watched his mother's knees buckle under the news, her hands clawing at a reality too jagged to grasp, while his father stared into an abyss silenced by grief's cruel grip. At the funeral, a preteen Cube stood frozen on the sidewalk, hands jammed in pockets as the hearse pulled away, feeling a piece of his soul drop into a chasm he would spend a lifetime climbing out of. In the aftermath, their home turned frigid. Grief squatted at the table like an unwelcome guest. Laughter evaporated, and nights stretched into silences broken only by distant wails of police cruisers. Doris gazed blankly out windows at phantom horizons, Hosea withdrew into monosyllables, and young O'Shea navigated the house like a minefield afraid to shatter fragile memories. School became alien territory. A bustin' kid from the hood at polished halls where easy smiles from affluent classmates felt like echoes from another planet. Football offered brief escapes, his passion for the game a raw outlet for the fury building inside. But even gridiron glory couldn't stitch the wound. Losing Beverly rewired how I see every dawn, Cube reflected years later, his voice cracking with the weight of unspoken what-ifs. It taught him life's fragility in the harshest curriculum. One wrong moment and everything shatters. South Central's asphalt baked under summer suns and chilled under winter moons became his reluctant mentors, reminders that safety was a loan, never a gift. Ever wonder how a kid turns personal hell into hip-hop heaven? At 14, salvation arrived not in a classroom or church pew, but in the scratch of a pen on yellow legal pads. A backyard cipher dare from a friend unlocked something primal, words that bled sorrow and street wisdom sharper than any blade. Under the glow of a single bulb, Cube hunched over his desk, verses pouring out like therapy sessions with no copay. No teacher taught me to write, he would say, only the ache did. It wasn't a hobby, it was oxygen. From CIA, a raw crew with his cousin Sir Jinx and beats from a young doctor, 3 at Compton swaps to selling Boyz, and the hood to Eazy-E at 16 for a pittance that smelled like destiny, Cube's pen became his armor. Those early nights, fueled by loss and low, idle rhythms, birthed a voice that would soon demand the world listen. Yet the path from prodigy to pioneer was paved with detours. In 1987, chasing stability, Cube enrolled at Phoenix Institute of Technology, diving into architectural drafting with the precision of a man drafting blueprints for his fractured life. He thrived straight lines and measured angles, a stark contrast to the chaos of home, but the pull of the streets was magnetic. A year in, he bailed, returning to LA not in defeat but clarity. No structure on paper could rebuild what grief had demolished. Back in the fray, music wasn't escape. It was excavation. N.W.A. wasn't just a group. It was a grenade lobbed at systemic silence. What happens when your voice shakes the nation, but the check bounces? Straight Outta Compton dropped in 1988 like a Molotov cocktail. Cube's lyrics, penned as N.W.A.'s ghostwriter-in-chief, exposed the underbelly of police brutality and poverty with surgical fury. The album went triple platinum without radio play, birthed gangster rap's blueprint, and landed Cube in the FBI crosshairs for inciting violence. But backstage betrayal brewed. Jerry Heller and Eazy-E's Ruthless Records contract was a raw deal Cube sniffed out early. $32 for millions in sales while he ghost-wrote half of Eazy's album. I saw the houses they bought, the cars, while I crashed with mom. Cube later told The Guardian, the sting of exploitation fueling his 1989 exit. No Vaseline, his solo scorcher on Amory KKK's Most Wanted in 1990, eviscerated the crew with lines that cut like shrapnel. It topped charts, but the fallout was a war of words that fractured brotherhoods forged in Compton's fire. Solo Cube didn't just rebound, he redefined. Amory KKK's Most Wanted, produced by Public Enemy's Bomb Squad, fused political rage with street sonics, debuting at number 19 on Billboard and earning critical praise as a masterpiece of confrontation. Death Certificate in 1991 went platinum, its black nationalist edge sparking bands but cementing Cube as rap's conscience. The Predator in 1992 shattered barriers, topping pop and R&B charts, the first rap album to do so, selling over 2 million copies amid G-Funk's rise. But Glory's grind was merciless. 16-hour studio marathons, tour, bus crashes into dawn, vocal cords shredded by screams of truth. As East Coast beefs and new waves crested, Cube felt the earth's shift. Pioneers fade into footnotes, he mused in a 2024 BET sit-down, but that only honed his edge. From mic to multiplex, could a rapper from the hood really steal Hollywood's heart? John Singleton bet yes in 1991, casting Cube as Doughboy in Boyz and the Hood, a role that mirrored his scars so raw audiences blurred fact from fiction. It grossed $56 million on $6. $5 million budget launching Cube's double threat era. Friday in 1995, which he wrote, starred in, and executive produced, flipped $3. $5 million into $28 million, birthing a stoner comedy dynasty that captured black joy amid the grind. Cube Vision followed, producing Barbershop, Are We There Yet, and 21 Jump Street. Yet success's shadow loomed. Midnight Meetings, Flop Fears, the paranoia of one misstep erasing empires. By 2025, with roles in War of the Worlds and cameos in TNA Impact alongside Son Oshie Jr., Cube's filmography nears 40, proving he's no one-trick pony. But Hollywood's glamour masked deeper tempests. In 2017, Cube's boldest gamble was Big 3, a 3, on 3 Hoops League for ex-NBA vets, mocked as a rapper's folly. He poured millions into arenas, contracts, and lawsuits, nights blurring as red ink threatened legacy. Failure here wasn't just cash, it was carving my name in sand, he admitted in a Forbes profile. Yet by 2025, Big 3 thrives, 8 city-based teams, stars like Dwight Howard, a $5 million splash signing WNBA phenom Caitlin Clark, Expansion looming for 2026, CBS broadcasts amplifying the spectacle, and Cube's vision redefining sports equity. His net worth a cool $160 million, built not on handouts but hustle from Coors Light endorsements to NFL, contract with Black America pushing Black-owned business. Then came the whisper that cut deepest: what if standing your ground costs you the kingdom you built? In 2021, oh hell no, a $9 million Sony gig opposite Jack Black evaporated when producers mandated the COVID vaccine. Cube walked with no protests, just principle. I lost momentum, stability, even legends fight for that. He shared the sting, hitting deeper than dollars. Hollywood didn't blacklist him outright, it just shifted. Younger faces filled scripts, new mandates settled like dust. The industry changes like weather, if you ain't bundled, winter hits quick. Cube quipped in a 2024 variety piece, the humor veiling a blade of isolation. At 56, whispers of your era's past echo louder than applause, but Cube countered with fire. Man Up, his 12th album, dropped September 2025, led by Before Hip Hop and a Truth to Power tour kicking off post hand print ceremony at TCL Chinese Theater. Amid the Roar family was the anchor, the grace note in a symphony of scars. Kimberly Woodruff wasn't smitten at first glance in 1988. Cube pursued her through college halls, undeterred by her initial no. 6 months later, sparks flew, and by 1992, vows sealed a bond that has outlasted 3 decades of spotlights. Their early days were grocery scrimps under flickering fluorescence, sagging couches, creaking with dreams, a fridge humming lullabies to newborn hopes. No glamour, all grit. Fame tests love like fire tests gold. What broke most marriages only forged theirs stronger. As Cube's star ascended, Kimberly solo parented 5 kids, Jr., the actor, Apper, who channeled Dad in Straight Outta Compton, Daryl, Karima, Deja, and Sharif. Missed milestones piled up birthdays under drooping balloons, school plays via blurry pics, first steps pieced from frantic calls. The breaking point was their son's birthday candles guttering as the door stayed shut. Cube arrived late, keys jingling into silence, spying Kimberly bowed over a half-eaten cake, son asleep clutching an unwrapped gift. I gained the world but lost the moments that matter, he confessed, the fracture prompting a pivot. Homecoming's slowed presence deepened. What mended them was not gestures but grit, the quiet bravery of staying when hurt howled. Cube lingered in doorways, relearning his home's contours. Kimberly leaned in their kids' unwitting sutures with every giggle and gripe. Jr.'s 2015 biopic turn healed generational wounds in a darkened theater, Cube glimpsing his chaos through his boy's eyes. Today, their Encino nest buzzes with imperfection spats that flare and fade, misunderstandings melting into mercy. Success didn't teach me love, family did, Cube told Cam Newton, crediting Kimberly's compass through heartbreaks. At 32 years strong, their union defies Tinseltown's churn. We wanted every day's not roses, but are we family? Hell yes. Grandkids now dot the scene, the Jacksons a dynasty of quiet triumphs, yet no scar aches like the one from a brother lost too soon. Eazy-E's 1995 AIDS diagnosis stunned the world, 31, iconic gone in weeks. For Cube, it was personal apocalypse, a collaborator turned foe over royalties, their beef immortalized in disses that masked mutual respect. We built from nothing, but money divided us, Cube reflected. Hospital visits, faltered Cube, arrived as Eazy slipped, unconscious, their reconciliation, a ghost unspoken. Decades on regret lingers, words, unsaid forgiveness untended. N.W.A.'s Rock Hall induction healed some rifts, but Eazy's void remains a hollow in Cube's chest, echoed in tributes. So at 56, as tours roar and BG, 3 balls bounce, what's the real tragedy? Not faded fame or foregone checks, it's the boy from South Central who learned too young that storms don't ask permission. Cubes climbed $160 million high, not because doors opened, but because he kicked them down, turning bullets and betrayals into bars that bang eternal. From N.W.A.'s blueprint to Man Up's manifesto, he's the voice that won't be vaulted. Ice Cube's fire isn't dimming, it's evolving a beacon for every hustler facing their own Beverly or Big Three bust. In a world quick to cancel legends, he stands unbowed husband, father, mogul myth. His tragedy doesn't define the man, it's the forge that makes him unbreakable. What's your storm? Peace.